Okay.
But look, very briefly, we've been dealing with the aftermath of the Akosombo Dam spillage.
Yeah.
For those who don't know about it, I'm reading from citinewsroom.com. Thousands of residents in central and north Tong areas of the Volta region have been displaced following the opening of the spillways of the Akosombo Dam. And the president is expected to announce a major government intervention after interacting with residents and opinion leaders today, chaired by the Chief of Staff, Akosia Frema Osei-Opare. The other members of the Interministerial Committee include the Minister of National Security, Albert Kandapa, Minister for the Interior, Ambrose Derry, Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwo, Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh Napo, who we are also calling on to fix Tor this morning.
Thank you.
Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta, and the Minister of Local Government, Daniel Kweku Boche. Other members are Minister of Works and Housing, that's Asenso Boachi, Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amwakwata, Minister for Environment, Minister for Sanitation, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Minister for Information himself. We're happy to see such a high-level delegation going there because it's been a long time, honestly, when we've seen everything come to a standstill because of something devastating that has happened in this country at the political level. I just hope they're not going to stand there and do photo op with the water and the people and the mattresses swimming in the water. Because that's also what we've seen, gentlemen. Let me start from Mensa Thompson. Let me start.
Well, I think it's a very...
We have images on the screen, drone footage from Citi.
It's a very painful experience. I am worried about the extent of the warning that went out before the spillage.
Thank you.
Whether the people had enough time to adequately prepare for such a catastrophe. This is a periodic thing. Every year when the rains comes, we have to deal with some of these spillages to keep the Akosombo water levels at acceptable level. The problem has been, one, the level of measures we put in place to ensure that we're able to do this spillage and there's little or less impact on people's lives and livelihood. And that has always been the problem. It's as if they just don't care. They just get up one day, they see the water levels full, and then they open the gate. And then they don't care whose ox is gone, whose house is flooded, whose livelihood is taken away. They don't care. And for me, it's very painful. And then after they do that, and people start suffering, then response. Look at the time this crisis started, and look at the time these people are now going there. The level of response. It's as if certain people in certain parts of this country are less Ghanaian. Assuming this thing has happened in other parts of the country, you would have seen even the media outreach on this matter would have been very, very, very strong.
I agree.
But what do we see? Oh, let's talk about it, and then we are done. Please, the people of Akosombo are also Ghanaians. The people in Mepe are also Ghanaians.
Tongu.
The people in Sugakope and its environs are also Ghanaians. The people in Adidome and its environs are also Ghanaians. They deserve the same level of treatment just as every other citizen. Government cannot continue to fail these people. That is where they have. Those areas are their lands. Okay? And for me, we have natural disasters happening. Okay? And our excuse is that these are natural disasters. Nobody expects them to happen. And so the level of preparedness to deal with them, the level of response could be a bit retarded, and we can agree. But this is not a natural disaster.
No, it's not.
This is a planned spillage. A planned spillage.
Controlled.
So how on earth are we getting those gory images from those areas? How on earth has the responses been so slow? How on earth are we still seeing people in very bizarre conditions, all their livelihood blocked, and still no media outreach, nothing. Government responses, nothing. We've not seen any drastic measure in place to provide emergency response. Do we even know how many people have lost their lives? We don't know. Because for all you know, people are dying in their rooms, or because people could be sleeping in the night and this water reaches levels where they are, and they get drunk.
I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but there's an extensive story in the Finder. I mean, VRA explains many things, including...
We don't need their excuses. We don't need their explanation.
They say that they inform stakeholders.
We don't need their explanation.
No, I'm just letting you, putting it into context.
You see, the images coming out.
The water spillage years, we had 2010 being the last. There's been 1966, 67, 68, 1969, 1970, 1971, 1972, 1974, and 1991 on their records, and then 2010 was the last. So it's not something that happens often.
Why do we need to know that there was a water spillage in 1972? People are dying today. You are telling us that there was water spillage in 1972.
No, but for me, what that tells me is that's happened before.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Not to be ready.
What I'm saying is that this is a planned spillage. It's not as if you woke up one day and the dam itself opened the gate of Akosombo and started flooding people's homes. You decided to go and open the gate. Before you open the gate, what did you take into consideration? Did you take into consideration the life of the people who live and their livelihood depends or thrives along the bank of these rivers?
Mensa, absolutely agree with you. Let me take 60 seconds.
Yeah,
because we have to go.
VRA issued a statement on the 12th of September around the same issue. 12th of September. What was the level of engagement after the release, of this statement? How many of these communities did VRA visit that, hey, we are going to have a controlled spillage, and so because of that, we will need you to evacuate or relocate? What was the level of engagement with NADMO, other state agencies, to making sure that the spillage is well controlled? You issue an alert on the 12th. You have a press statement engagement on the 15th or 16th.
30 seconds.
And that is it. Guess what? The communities came out to say that they got the information on social media. How many of these local people have access to social media to be able to know beforehand that there's going to be a controlled spillage, and so we need to relocate from where we are? Unfortunately, that level of stakeholder engagement did not go down well. Yeah. So that, preparedness on the part of these communities was not there. And so you began to spill on the blind side of these communities, and now look at what has happened. Look at the sort of images that we have seen on televisions and even in the print media. The livelihoods of these people in the communities have been cut.
But they are not Ghanaians.
Over 6,000 people, 6,000 victims.
Yeah. They are not Ghanaians. They should go to their home.
All right? 6,000 victims. And we have the president going in to do what exactly? Okay. To give them relief.
Gentlemen, we have to
instead of being preventive, almost all the time as a nation, we have become reactive.
Yeah.
We wait for the thing to happen, and then we come and say, oh, we are sorry. This, that, and then we give you a blanket, and then we give you a pillow, and maybe a bag of rice, and that's it.
Paul, but is it not the
For
same
how long?
People?
Since 1962
we have to
to 2023,
is it not the
we are
same
going through the same issue.
During the voters registration exercise, they took military and immigration people to go and fill their place to go to their hometown.
It is sad.
So if they are not Ghanaians, why would they go and give them livelihood?
Why would they go and
give them relief
you have
items?
Controlled spillage, and look at the number of communities that are involved. Look at the number of people that have been victimized because of this spillage.
Yeah.
And again, we are going to do once more lip service.
Yeah. Yes.
Talk show.
Look, that's the end. It's a harrowing situation.
People are dying in silence.
It's a harrowing situation. I mean, over 6,000 people. That's a whole community. And
boy.
Again, we need to do better. We need to see better. Look, Ghanaians do not deserve this. I hope because I'm an insane optimist, that this high-level delegation that's going to the communities today.
Which high?
I mean, the president is going, and he has
almost
all of cabinet with him. We hope that you're not just going to do photo ops.
There's been a proposal by University of Ghana.
We have to end this segment. We have to end this
solution.
There's a solution. Oh, they are just not thinking. They are just not thinking. Who told you there's no solution?
So I do hope
Are you saying
that
that
this
people there don't know that
delegation, the visit there with the president today, at least yield something more positive than newspaper stories and clippings for the news and PR that we always see? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning. I've had with me Mensa Thompson, the Executive Director of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, as well as Mr. Paul Eric Ofori, who is the Head of Research at COPEC. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this morning.